Elvis Presley's sudden death left heartbroken fans curious about how it all ended so quickly for the king of rock and roll. The jailhouse rock singer, 42, was discovered face down on the bathroom floor of his Graceland home with his pajama bottoms around his ankles on August 16, 1977. In the last few months of his life, he had gained 3.5 stone, and his health rapidly declined. Famed for his swaggering hips and chart-topping hits by the end, charming Elvis struggled to even get out of bed. He was overweight, constipated, paranoid, and miserable. In the 7 months before his death, he was prescribed almost 9,000 pills, vials, and injections. But still, nobody knows how the Mississippi legend actually died, because his family decided to remain tight-lipped about the results of his autopsy for 50 years. However, experts have spoken out about their differing views on the exact cause of death, and one pinpoints a previous injury. It was his girlfriend Ginger Alden who found the star's body horrifically lying on the floor of his bathroom. Of the distressing scene, Ginger, who was just 21 at the time, wrote in her memoir, "His arms lay on the ground, close to his sides, palms facing upward. It was clear that, from the moment he landed on the floor, Elvis hadn't moved. I gently turned his face toward me. A hint of air expelled from his nose. The tip of his tongue was clenched between his teeth and his face was blotchy. I gently raised one eyelid. His eye was staring straight ahead and blood red." An autopsy was carried out that same day, but the report was immediately sealed, sparking a slew of speculation as to what killed him. Dan Warlick, chief investigator for the Tennessee office of the state chief medical examiner, attended the autopsy and fueled the popular theory that Elvis died while straining to go to the toilet. He once said, "Presley's chronic constipation, the result of years of prescription drug abuse and high-fat, high-cholesterol gorging, brought on what's known as Valsalva's maneuver. Put simply, the strain of attempting to defecate compressed the singer's abdominal aorta, shutting down his heart." Others claimed he died from a drug overdose, but when the investigation was reopened in 1994, Coroner Joseph Davis disagreed. He explained, "The position of Elvis Presley's body was such that he was about to sit down on the commode when the seizure occurred. He pitched forward onto the carpet, his rear in the air, and was dead by the time he hit the floor. If it had been a drug overdose, Elvis would have slipped into an increasing state of slumber. He would have pulled up his pajama bottoms and crawled to the door to seek help. It takes hours to die from drugs." The autopsy results are due to be unlocked in 2027, but until then, the biggest insight into the star's mysterious death has come from prominent California physician, Forrest Tennant, who actually reviewed the report while defending Elvis's doctor, Dr. George Nicopolis, who was later acquitted of overprescribing drugs. For Mr. Tennant, one major clue was in the full-body deterioration of Elvis, with almost every organ plagued by ill health. As a young man, Elvis had been extremely fit, playing football and practicing martial arts. He did start abusing drugs including amphetamines, opioids, and sedatives as a teenager and is known to have had an appalling diet. But for Tennant, that wasn't enough to explain the long list of maladies that afflicted the rock star from the late 1960s onwards. First, he complained of vertigo, back pain, and insomnia, eye infections, and headaches. And in 1973, he was rushed to hospital in a semi-coma and found to be suffering from jaundice, severe respiratory distress, marked swelling of his face, distended abdomen, constipation, a gastric, bleeding ulcer, and hepatitis. He was hospitalized again in 1975 with high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and a condition called megacolon, whereby the large intestine becomes distended and can allow toxins to flood the body. He also had at least 4 near-death overdoses that left him unconscious and in need of resuscitation, and his heart was double the normal size. And despite having never smoked, he also suffered from emphysema. So what had caused all of these disease processes in his stomach, liver, lungs, heart, spine, eyes, and bowel? Forrest believes it all stemmed back to a serious head injury he sustained in 1967 that triggered a progressive autoimmune inflammatory disorder. In his opinion, as shared in a 2013 medical paper when Elvis tripped over a television cord and knocked himself out on the bathtub, the injury was so severe that it caused brain tissue to dislodge and seep into his blood circulation. There, the body identified the matter as foreign and produced antibodies to destroy it, triggering hypogammaglobulinemia, a disorder of the body's immune system.